Wow, good evening. I have to say before I get started that typically when I was racing and competing around the world, I'd get inspired by watching other races before mine. So I was the guy sitting down like on the grass watching other races because I'd always find it like inspiring. I'd get on the water and race my best if I watched somebody else race their best. And this has been incredibly intimidating to sit and listen and be inspired by you people. And I'm far more nervous now than I would have been if I went first. So thank you for your incredible insights. We're all, smarter and more fulfilled having listened to them so far. My name is Adam Van Koeverden. I come from Oakville, and I'm a McMaster grad. I kayaked for Canada for about 20 years. You're probably asking yourself the same question I asked myself when I was asked to do this, was why? I've never faced any mobility issues, any accessibility issues. And although I am aging at the same rate as you people and a lot of our speakers, I'm on the lower end of that spectrum. But I will remind everybody that we're aging, unless you travel to work every day at the speed of light or close to it, then we're all aging at the exact same rate, which is 1 day per 1 day lived. But I haven't dealt with any of these issues yet. So when I considered what I could add to this conference tonight, I thought about sport. It's the only thing that I'm truly, not really an expert on, but close to. I'm not an expert on any of the sciences that we learned about today, but I have traveled the world paddling my boat and being an athlete for the better part of 2 decades, and I have some insight to share on what I think I received from the world of sport and what I think society can serve to receive from the world of sport as well. So before I go on, I'd like to acknowledge not only that we're on traditional territories of the Mississauga and the Haudenosaunee, but also that I was able to make a name for myself here and abroad as a kayaker with an invention from the Inuit people, the Alu people, and other peoples of the north, which is a boat that was used for transportation, for fishing, for exploration. And it was appropriated by us, white people, to race around the world. And I'm very thankful for that creation and for the boat. It was a lot of fun. I never caught a seal or really explored very much, but I used it to the best of my abilities, and I hope I brought the boat a little bit of honor for the folks that invented it over 4,500 years ago. And I certainly wouldn't be standing here in front of you today if it wasn't for the indigenous people that invented that boat. I was able to travel up to Labrador this summer, and for the first time ever, I paddled in a sealskin kayak, and I experienced kayaking with all of my senses. I smelled the boat, I felt the boat, I listened to the boat go through the water, and it was the most incredible experience that I've had as a kayaker, and that was after quitting after 2 decades. So it is not lost on me how fortunate I am to have been a kayaker in this country. But despite that, access to quality sport and play programming, access to great coaching, access to facilities for youth and other people is down in this country. And it's down compared to a lot of countries that we like to consider our equals. It may seem as though I've construed a little bit the theme of this evening by talking about access to sport, but if you'll allow me 4.5 more minutes, then I'll try to loop it back and talk about how sport actually directly relates itself to aging. Access to sport is not just about your age, whether you're a youth or an elder. It's also about your access as a human being and whether or not it's open to you. I like to volunteer with the Special Olympics of Canada. I'm inspired by the Paralympics. We just watched the Invictus Games. And there's other organizations that promote access to sport in different forms for people that face barriers. This summer, I was also working as a community sport ambassador with MLSE's Launchpad Foundation, which seeks to overcome socioeconomic barriers to sport participation. I grew up in community housing in Oakville, Ontario, and I faced some barriers as a youth. Thankfully, my mom stuck me in sport programming, and one of the other things that sport does, beyond keep you healthy, it also prevents crime. And if you want any further insight on that, my mom's about 7 rows back there, and she can tell you all about why I got involved in sport at that age. We all know that sport is a precursor and a prerequisite to holistic development, but if you don't receive the knowledge and physical education, if you don't develop a familiarity and a love for sport, and if you don't develop the physical literacy around health and wellness and sport and fitness activities when you're young, then it's unlikely that you're going to utilize any of those skills as you age. It's also a relatively cheap and non-invasive form of medicine. My father has Parkinson's disease, and he's been diagnosed for about 5 years. And the number one thing that he can do, according to his doctor, beyond take his drugs every day, is be physically fit. So for the past 5 years, my dad has been boxing. He's been going to 3 classes a week. He's been doing all sorts of activity. He's lost 30 or 40 pounds, and he's healthier than he's been, despite the fact that he now has Parkinson's disease and he's aging the same rate as you and I. And it's because he's physically active and physically fit. He's got 2 golden retrievers that need at least 2 hours of walking every day, and he gets outside. And sport and activity has definitely improved his life. And he's actually one of, I think, two patients of Dr. Anthony at Toronto Western Hospital that have actually seen their symptoms regress. So my dad may be curing Parkinson's disease, knock on wood. I'm Dutch, I have a wooden noggin, so I can knock up there. I don't think he's curing it, but he's definitely slowing it down, which is great. And if he can slow down aging with a little bit of sport and activity, then that's something. I think it speaks volumes to the potential. Now, as I said, I'm a McMaster grad. There's a couple of my professors in the audience, and that means that I'm intrinsically inclined to believe that sport and play is the solution for all the world's woes and problems. That may not be the case, but I know that it'll solve a few of them. For me, I'm currently going through a little bit of a transition, and I'm learning the difference between training and exercise. Trying to learn how to exercise. I've never really exercised before in my life. I used to get up in the morning and get on the water for 90 minutes, then hit the gym for 2 hours, then go for a run, then get back on the water for 90 minutes. Now when I look back on that, I think I'm insane, or I was insane. What was wrong with me? The fact is, nothing was wrong with me. I was focused on something that took that amount of work, and it probably wasn't even that healthy, to be honest. I dealt with a lot of injuries, little injuries, nothing serious, but they didn't prevent me from competition, which I'm thankful for. But now that I'm sort of changing gears and entering society as a regular human, I don't want to exercise for 25 hours a week, or train for 25 hours a week. I'd like to exercise for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 hours a week, and that's been a little bit of a challenge. And I'm realizing that our physical education system, despite being fully engaged in it, and Stu and Maureen, this is no reflection on your capacity as a professor, may have failed some people growing up, that we didn't necessarily develop the ability to exercise and to use our bodies in a way that is medicinal. And I think we could learn a lot from Indigenous peoples, and First Nations, and the Inuit, and other people that work outdoors, like farmers, like my grandparents, who probably lived a little bit longer because they're outside every single day. My grandmother fell twice this spring, and she broke both of her hips, and she's been doing physio for the first time in her life. She's exercising, and she tells me about her exercise routine when I visit, and she's enjoying them. It's a challenge. She's 92 years old, so it's unlikely that she's going to get way stronger, but she can walk to the bathroom without having to hold onto a handrail. And she's realizing that exercise is pretty cool. One of the pillars of Canada 150 this year was diversity and inclusion, and ensuring that sport and access to sport is for absolutely everybody, whether you want to go to the Olympics or you want to age gracefully, you want to prevent disease and illness. It's absolutely a free opportunity for everybody. And if we can go back a few years and look at our physical education system and look at how we teach sport, so that as adults we don't have to search for something online or on Instagram or go to a yoga class and spend $35 when it's right in front of us. You can put on your running shoes, you can go outside, you can enjoy sport and play, and I think we'll all be better off and healthier for it, including me, a retired Olympian who needs to learn how to exercise for the first time in his life. Truly inspiring evening. Thank you very, very much for everybody's attention and my fellow speakers.